Hi, my name is Amy Oxford and I'm the inventor of the Oxford punch needle. To thread it when you're using yarn, just hold it in your hand and take the end of your yarn and hold it so there's just a little teeny little nubbin of yarn sticking out, and you're going to thread it through the hole like that and pull it and make a long tail like so, and then hold it underneath. And to get the yarn to go into the slot, all you're going to do is pull back on it and it'll pop right in. And then just keep pulling it till you only have a little short end. If you leave an end any longer than that, you're just wasting yarn. So we're ready to punch, and remember you're working on the back side of your rug. The other side is the finished side, the loopy side of the rug. So here we go, punching from the back. You're starting with just a little short end. There's just 3 tricks to make it work. The first trick is you have to go all the way down, as far down as it'll go. The second trick is when you lift up, barely lift your needle up at all and just drag it across. The third trick is to always face the needle in the direction that you're going. Think of it like an arrow pointing the way you want it to go. So I'm going this way now, so I'll face it that way. If I want it to go up, you turn it while it's in the backing and then bring it up. And now if I want to go this way, again I turn it while it's down in and then I face it that way. So you can go any which way, but always aim the needle the direction you're going. So again, the 3 tricks. First is to always go all the way down, and the second is don't lift up too high, and the third is to always face it in the direction that you're going. A common beginner mistake is to punch along and lift the needle up much too high, and it'll just keep coming out. Even if you just lift it up a little bit too high, that's too much. You'll be pulling a loop short on the other side. So just drag it across the surface. Now, one great thing about this technique is if you don't like it, you can just pull it out, and when you're ready to start again, spring your needle so that you just have a little bit of yarn sticking out, and then go ahead and rub your backing. And you're ready to go again. So again, all the way down, and don't lift up too high. So practice doing that. When you're learning to punch, start practicing with yarn. It's much easier than with strips. And once you've got the hang of yarn, then you're ready to switch. What you can do when you're first learning, do a little bit and turn it over to see how it looks on the other side. And this is the right side of the rug. Now what you want to look for is that all of your loops are the same height, which these are. Now they're crooked as can be. See how they're going all willy-nilly? Don't worry about that because you can straighten them up afterwards. But make sure they're the same height. What the tool is doing is it's pushing up a thread. It's pushing it up and folding it. Pushing it and folding it. So that's why it's important to go all the way up as far as you can go, because it will make that the right distance. And when you come down, you can see if you pull the needle down too much, you'll pull that loop short or pull it out altogether. So that's why it's important to go all the way in, and when you come up, to barely lift your needle up at all. And you can go in any direction. When you're punching along with this weight of rug yarn, you're going to go in about every 3rd hole. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But honestly, if I had to count the holes, I'd go bonkers. So what I prefer to do instead of counting the threads is to measure my stitches. So what you can do is your punch needle comes with a stitch gauge. It's just a 1-inch square cut out of a piece of paper, and go ahead and measure your stitches. And you should have 4 to the inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's the size stitch you want to use for all your filling in. There's only one other stitch size, which is a little bit smaller, and that's 6 per inch. Let me just show you the difference. I'm going to just go right along beside so you can see the two. These stitches are a little bit smaller. With this, I'm going in every other hole of the monk's cloth. Just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But again, it's so much easier not to count. Let's see the difference in the stitch size. This will be 6 to the inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the bigger stitches, the 4 to the inch, you use for all your filling in. The smaller stitches you use for the outer 2 rows of your rug, going all the way around the outside edge. You'll do that twice. It'll make a nice strong rug. And also when you're outlining your shapes, outline with a nice small stitch. And also for a single line, you'll do your small stitch. Let me show you what they look like on the other side. You can see that this smaller stitch makes a nice solid line, and the bigger stitch makes a broken line. So this is the one you use for filling in, and the tighter stitch is really good on the outside edge of a rug because it makes a stronger rug, and it's good for outlining because you get a good definition, and good for single lines because you don't want a broken line for something like lettering. So those are your 2 stitch sizes, 4 to the inch and 6 to the inch. So the beauty of this craft is it's the most forgiving craft I've ever done. If you don't like what you've done, you can just pull it out and work again on getting your stitches the right size. You can just rub your backing back together and you're ready to go again. If you're using strips of fabric, you're always going to use that smaller stitch I showed you, going in every other hole, having 6 stitches per inch. Now I bet you're wondering how to stop and start. Let me show you that. When you're ready to go again, just pull your needle down like that so there's no extra yarn, and then you can just pick up where you left off. And when you're ready to end, what you're going to do is you're going to lift your needle up and pinch your thread right there. Slide your needle up out of the way, and you're going to take your scissors and cut it off quite close. This is now sticking up out of a hole, and what you're going to do is push that through to the other side. Same thing with where I started. I'm going to push that through to the other side. Now we'll turn it over so you can see what it looks like on the right side of the rug. So when you turn it over, this looks like a long loop, but it's really the end that hasn't popped up all the way. So I'm just going to pull on it, and see, there's your end, and there's your other end. So what you do is all of your long threads wind up on the right side of your rug, and you're just going to trim it off. So I hold my scissors flush with my loops and just clip that. Now this little guy, I'd wait to cut him off until he was surrounded, and then you're just going to clip him off. And what I want to show you now is about how close to put your rows to each other. I'm going to come down here. Remember I said when you want to go up, turn it while it's down in the cloth. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my rows just side by side so they're touching each other. With punch needle rug hooking, you don't want any spaces showing, or just very little spaces. See how you can't see my backing? You can see it every once in a while like there, but for the most part you want to cover it up. In rug hooking, if you have spaces showing, they're called holidays, and you don't want too many holidays. So just put your rows side by side. Everybody always says to me, well, how many holes over do you go? And I'll tell you, I never count, 1, 2, 3. It's just too tedious. What I do is the thickness of my yarn is actually the same thickness as the width of my needle. See that? So what I can do is, instead of measuring holes, I get the edge of my needle so it's just grazing my last row. See that? It's just the side of my needle is just touching what I've just done. You don't want to be way out here, because that would leave a holiday. You don't want to do that. And you also don't want to double up on it and completely squish them together like that. So find a happy medium where they're just laying side by side. So now you're ready to learn how to clean up the right side of your rug. When you turn your rug over, you can just count on the right side of your rug being a mess. It's nothing that you've done wrong, but we're punching on the back of the rug. We don't really have that much control over what's going on this side. When you turn it over, it's going to be covered with these little ends. You'll have one every time you stop and start. So again, you're just going to cut these off, and I suggest doing that as you go along so you don't have too many of them at the end. But go ahead and cut them off, and that's what we call snipping. And then the other thing that's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of loops in the wrong place. I had a beautiful straight line on the other side. Remember, I went right along that gray, and look what a mess it is. They've gone into the wrong spot. So the next step is just cleaning your loops up. We call it poking, because you're just going to poke your loops into the right place. So take the end of your scissors and just push those loops back where they belong. Thanks very much. I hope you have fun with your punch needle rug hooking.